What's up, guys? It's Kaz coming to you with another video today. So today we are going to go ahead and do I think this is my first rankings list on this channel. So why not start off with an absolute banger with the top 10 quarterbacks of all time? Now, from all of my friends, all of them have a list, and I think every kid in America has this type of list. So I wanted to share mine, and I think mine's pretty good, but, I think, to some people I might be leaving out some names, but I don't care. It's my list. So the number 10 spot to me belongs to Aaron Rodgers. Now, as a Lions fan, I have witnessed firsthand that Aaron Rodgers, just crushes your dreams to win a football game against him. Very tough to win against, unless if you're in the NFC Championship. But honestly, Aaron Rodgers, probably one of the most impressive quarterbacks of this generation. Just an absolute stud. 9 Pro Bowls, 3 All-Pros, and 3 MVP awards. I mean, that's just going to land you in a top 10 anywhere. And, I think he's got a lot to go. I don't know how long he's going to be with the Packers, but I think he should be on top 10 lists like this right now. I think he's a guy that definitely needs to be on him. Just to look at the numbers, the guy has a passer rating career of 104.2, which isn't pretty shabby. So, yeah, I think he's just definitely going to be a Hall of Famer, first ballot. So, yeah, he's definitely one of those guys. And coming in the number 9 spot is Johnny Unitas. Now, I was not fortunate enough to watch Johnny Unitas. As you can tell, I'm not that old. So, yeah, I wish I would have, though, because you look at these numbers that he put up. He led the league 4 times in passing yard. This guy, 10 Pro Bowls, 5 All-Pros, 3 MVPs. What else can you say? The guy was a living legend at his time. And the thing is that with Johnny Unitas, you look at his stats. Look, for today's standards, and this goes with a lot of the older quarterbacks, a lot of them don't have as many yards. A lot of them don't have as many TDs. But you know what? Honestly, though, you look back and it was just a running game. So for Johnny Unitas to do what he did in his era was unbelievable, and it was just terrific to watch. And a lot of the stories that you hear about Johnny Unitas as an absolute legend, being in the best game ever played in that 1958 championship, you just hear the legend of Johnny Unitas, and it just reigns true. So, yeah. Number 8 on my list, and I think this is going to come as a shock to a lot of people, but number 8 is Joe Montana. Now, Joe Montana, to me, is incredibly overrated for what he did in his career. You look at his numbers, 40,000 passing yards on the career ain't too bad. That's going to put you in, Canton all day. But the thing is you look back at a lot of what Joe Montana did. He executed tremendously well, but if you don't put Bill Walsh in that head coach position for him, I don't know if he's the same quarterback. So, I guess, you could say that about another guy on this list, but we'll address that when we get to him. But Joe Montana, what an absolute career. 4-time Super Bowl champ. That's the thing. Joe Montana, I think he's very overrated also because he was a winner. He was an absolute winner when he was in the league. 4-time Super Bowl champ. Quarterbacks just don't do that all the time. So, definitely one of those once-in-a-generation type players. But he makes 8 on my list because I definitely think some of these guys are going to be better. Now, this is the next shock. So, guess who I have at number 7? I have Steve Young. Now, yes, Steve Young took over for Joe Montana when Joe Montana got hurt. And, honestly, this to me is an incredible story. Steve Young, sticking it out for that long under, playing behind probably the best quarterback of their generation and learning behind him and patiently waiting for a long time and then exploding out of the scene with unbelievable force. You look at a lot of the stats and a lot of the seasons, they're a little above what Joe Montana did, but, in a lot less time that Joe Montana did it. So, for me, Steve Young gets number 7, and he gets a lot of the credit for me for, stepping into that role, kind of filling in those shoes of Joe Montana. Okay, now we got number 6. And we got number 6 as Drew Brees. Now, Drew Brees, honestly, it's hard to put him higher on this list because it's like I love Drew Brees is awesome. And, I can't really put him any higher than this for me because a lot of these legends are they just contributed a lot more. But, Drew Brees until Peyton Manning broke, he broke Peyton Manning's career passing yards record. He did a lot of things in his career. He ended up with a lot of records at the end of it, but now are being broken by Tom Brady. But, hey, I mean, Drew Brees as a generational talent was tremendous. The guy had absolute skill coming from a Big Ten school, which is pretty cool because Big Ten doesn't get a lot of love in football, but now they're starting to get more. But, yeah, I think Drew Brees, unbelievable leader. That's what I think of when I think of Drew Brees. Not necessarily his individual stats, but, by looking how he commands his team before the games, how he did outside of football, he was the most admirable quarterback, I think, ever. So, yeah, Drew Brees definitely gets my vote for number 6. So here we go. Number 5, we have John Elway. John Elway, John Elway was a big-time guy, big-time stud. I mean, 51,475 passing yards in his whole career. And, this guy, I can't believe a lot of the stuff that he did when he did it. And he was really one of those first guys with, the next guy coming up. Hint, hint. With the next guy, I mean, they absolute rocket. They threw absolute rockets, and it was unbelievable to watch because no one has ever seen it before. These were the first guys, I think, that came into the league and started rocketing the ball out of their hands, and they started to just gain unbelievable amounts of yards. So, yeah, I think, he landed on 300 on the dot with touchdowns. I definitely think his career should be looked at as one of the best ever. I think he's a no-brainer at this spot. I mean, there's nothing else to say. It's just he's been an absolute stud all the time he's been in there. So, yeah, here we go. We got number 4, Dan Marino. So, Dan Marino with John Elway rocketed across the league throughout their careers. And honestly, Dan Marino is probably my favorite quarterback of all time, other than one, but he's probably one of my favorites just because Dan Marino, he had a great character, he had a boisterous character, he was awesome. I think a lot of guys were ecstatic to play with him. I think a lot of people knock him for not winning a Super Bowl and that he wasn't a big team player, but he was. I mean, the guy got injured a bunch, and he played on it. And you look at it, you look at a lot of the things he says about his career. He doesn't regret it. It's unbelievable what the guy did, though. I mean, 61,000 passing yards in his career. That's definitely going to get you into Canton. It's just. You watch him play football, and it's a loss of words. The guy has a great brain. He just manhandled defenses weekly. So, Yeah, here we go. We got number 3 at Peyton Manning. So Peyton Manning, what else? What can you say about Peyton Manning? I mean, you got 14 Pro Bowls, 7 All-Pros, 5 MVPs. That's unbelievable to me. 5 MVPs for a quarterback. What else can you say? I mean, Peyton Manning, what an absolute guy. Like, 71,000 passing yards in his career. Eventually shattered by Drew Brees, but Peyton Manning was the sheriff for a reason. He could pick apart a defense when he wanted to. He could lead his team. You hear a lot about, if you watch Pat McAfee go over a lot of what Peyton Manning says. Peyton Manning, I mean, he was the leader of that team. He was the leader of the franchise almost. I mean, he was interconnected with, Jim Irsay, and I think that Colts team really misses him, and then he went and did what he did in Denver. Just an unbelievable career, an unbelievable guy. That's one of those guys where, you just want to meet just to, hang out with him because, honestly, the guy was so enjoyable to watch on and off football, So, Peyton Manning, to me, is one of my most enjoyable quarterbacks to watch just because I grew up watching, what he did in that time period that he did. It's just unbelievable what he did, and it's great that he ended on a Super Bowl. So my number 2 is Brett Favre. So Brett Favre for me is kind of Peyton Manning, but way more Southern and just twisted up a notch. I mean, the guy, you look at his numbers and you look at his interception numbers, it's like, oh my goodness, but then you look at his TD numbers, and you're like dumbfounded. How could this guy stay in the league? And then he was just throwing more TDs and interceptions by a lot. So, I mean, 508 TDs on his career, 71,000 passing yards. The guy was just an absolute stud when he was. And I think a lot of people could compare him to John Elway, just because John had a rocket arm, and the only person I think you could compare to him was Brett Favre. Brett Favre could put it into places that no one else could. I mean, guy was open by 1 yard. He could get it right in there. Sometimes he got intercepted, but most of the times he got that TD. So I think Brett Favre is just one of those guys that you look at, and you look at the, Atlanta Falcons, and you're like, how could you pass on this guy? How could you let him go? So it's just unbelievable. So here we go. We got the number 1 quarterback of all time, the GOAT. I had to put him on here, Tom Brady. My favorite quarterback of all time. He's breaking records left and right. Oh my gosh. I don't even know when he's going to stop. That's the scary part. No one knows when this guy's going to stop. And it's like, Tom Brady says he can play till 45, and I believe him. I mean, I can't believe what he's been doing at the age he's been doing it at. I mean, 83,000 passing yards. I don't know if he's going to be the first quarterback to get 100,000 passing yards. He might. I mean, I don't even know. This guy is just unbelievable in every aspect. Getting drafted where he was, and then starting out at the bottom of the depth chart and working up and filling in for Drew Bledsoe in the last second. It's just unbelievable what he's been doing. Watch his documentary. It's terrific. And I think Tom Brady's just one of those where you watch it and we kind of take it for granted because you watch Tom Brady win a Super Bowl, you just really don't like watching it. But honestly, it's like you just watched a guy win 7 Super Bowls. So, honestly, it's unbelievable to watch. I think it's an absolute treat to watch. It's unlike anything, I think, in sports right now, just because of the age of him and the way he's going at it. I mean, this season, he's got 4,034 passing yards, 4,134 passing yards in 13 games. I mean, that's just unbelievable. And I'm going to end it right there. Tom Brady just gets me excited, to talk about football because I think he brings out the best in any city he goes to. So here we go. We got my top 10 list. Finally put it out there. Well, guys, if you liked any of these videos, I kind of tried something new with this top 10. If you like this, comment and see, tell me if you like it or not. So thank you. If you could like, that would be awesome. Check out my channel if you want any more videos like this. And yeah, thank you and God bless.